What's up, you guys? Sean Ross Sapp. Welcome to Fightful, here with a name you know, and you're going to see him this Saturday, AEW Full Gear, 0 Hour, QT Marshall.
Yeah, what's going on, man? I didn't think it was going to happen, me back in an AEW ring, but here we are, right?
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about in that regard. You came back to AEW, but more of, I don't know if it's an administrative role. I don't know how you would call it necessarily.
Jack of all trades, master of none. That's what I tell everybody. I think if I had to write down what I do, I wouldn't be able to do it, right? I just kind of do whatever needs to be done, and that's it. So makes
See,
the day go by a lot faster.
That's what Rocky told me that he ran into a lot, and then finally he was like,
Yeah.
"I need a title for what the hell I do, so people will, at least know." But my God, you've been back for a while. I know you've done some dark matches here and there, and
a couple. I think just my students, maybe, right? A couple of them were students, and just to go out there and kind of have some fun and get the crowd all warmed up. And then we had one out in Salt Lake City, Manny Lemons. He had, done a lot of advertising for us out in Salt Lake. I think he had sold close to 1,000 tickets through his independent company and stuff like that. So, I'll do anything for the company,
Well, I mean, that takes me back to a trip that I went. I went to my second home, Toronto, loved it. And I was at, I believe it was the first tapings that AEW ever had there. And my main takeaway from those tapings was, man, they really relied on QT Marshall to get heat for everybody on that show. Like you were out there 3 or 4 different times and you were getting heat every single time.
Yeah.
It was great.
I mean, I don't know why the fans just, they don't like me for whatever reason, but I'm okay with it. I lean into it. I enjoy it. I think being a good person behind the scenes and, in my life, I think it's fun to be able to take that out on the, the live audience and, get those frustrations out and let them, they have a lot of frustrations with a lot of the talent. So let them put it on me. I'm okay with it.
As somebody who is universally loved like me and has absolutely no haters, I can't relate to that. But why do you think the crowd hates you so much?
Man, Tony and I were just talking about this the other day. I mean, it started obviously with, just being there because of being Cody's assistant and then kind of falling into the TV stuff. But I think a lot of it was never pushing back and fighting against the rumors and innuendo of why I had the spots that I had. It's like, no, if that's what you want to believe, like I'm all for it. There's nothing that I would hate more as a fan than a guy in a spot because he, used his relationships to get there and didn't really earn it. You know what I mean? So to me, that was like the easiest way to just lean into it and have fun with it. So as a fan, I completely understand why you wouldn't like me. And I try to do my best, not to give any reason to. But one of those dark matches, believe it or not, I was a full-on 2 of them actually. I was a full-on babyface, and I was able to flip the crowd right away. So, I enjoy it too. But no, I think I know what my lane is. I'm good at it. I enjoy it. Wrestling is like an outlet for me to kind of let out some steam. And if I'm able to do it once in a while, especially in front of a nice audience, it's definitely it's worth it for me. It's worth it on my body as well.
I've been watching you wrestle for well over a decade now because you were in Ring of Honor doing a lot of great stuff. And one of the matches when I would go through cage match and all that stuff, and I always like to see who faced who early on. And there's a match that stood out to me, and it was November 3rd, 2012. It was only a 3.5-minute match, but it was QT Marshall defeating a guy by the name of Adam Page.
Yeah. So he broke my nose in that
Did
match.
He
broke my nose. Yeah. Prince Nana got involved. RD Evans got involved. It was a get over match for me. But I knew Hangman at the time, just a young Adam Page, as a guy that did the tryout camp with me. And I've always been a victim of, especially if I'm winning the match, I'm going over in the match. It helps to get the other guy over as well. And so I went above and beyond to make sure that even in 3.5 minutes that he got a lot of stuff in. And so I think a lot of people don't understand how the business works. So they that guy should have won and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, young Hangman, spin kick. I put my hand up to try to block it last second, hit my own nose, shattered it, but it was all no one understood what was going on because it was the same night Jim Cornette got fired. So
Oh my
he kind of overshadowed
gosh.
everything that was going on. Yeah, he got fired because whatever happened between Steve Corino and the late Jay Briscoe, they had a match, and Corino got hurt. There was a whole bunch of stuff, and so no one remembered that QT broke his nose. But it was fun. I actually got to watch that match not too long ago on ROH, the website and everything on the app and stuff. So it's pretty, going back
Like
to old times.
like you look up and down like some of your singles matches in ROH back then, and it's like
Yeah,
Kevin Steen, Jay Briscoe,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
names like that, Roderick Strong, people who are still around. But you also teamed a lot with
Right.
RD Evans, who you're working
Yeah,
with behind the
yeah,
scenes in
yeah,
AEW.
yeah. He's believe it or not, I mean, Brian Danielson did pitch him to our legal team and Tony, and then I kind of pitched him as well, and it was like, oh, we've already heard that name come up. I was like, yeah, he just left TNA, and he was always cool to me, and we did team together and stuff, and like I said, I when I first got to Ring of Honor back then, I was very serious about certain things. And then once I kind of saw the writing on the wall, which was for me, I didn't want to be there. I just didn't like it. It wasn't my style of wrestling, as everyone could tell. Um, and it was putting a lot on my body and my mind. So once I got in there with RD, I was starting to have more fun, and kind of then by the end I actually started enjoying it. Like, oh, this is like an odd couple tag team that we can have a lot of fun, and I could be a little more serious, he could be a little more funny, and so on and so forth. But we always stayed in touch, and when the opportunity came up, I mean, he's been great, and I think Tony has really taken a liking to him and just how he does stuff backstage, and with the promos, and he's got really good ideas, and just he's a good person to have around.
Before we get into the pressing matters at hand, another name that obviously you ran into an awful lot back in the day, a fellow who went by the name of Punishment Martinez, Damian Priest, who
Yeah,
wildly
yeah,
successful now, and he has spoken at length
sure.
about how he should have taken things seriously well before that. But when you run into an Adam Page 12 years ago, or you're teaming and wrestling with a Damian Priest, even at that stage, are there times when like you lock up with somebody or you spend a few minutes in there and you're like, yeah, I'm going to be seeing this guy down the line 10, 15 years from now as well?
Yeah, I mean, so Paige, 100%. I mean, I remember at the tryout that we did, the ROH tryout, like you could tell he had something. He was very young, still obviously a really good looking guy in great shape, just had a charm to him. Now, I mean, he's like the complete opposite of what he was back then when he came out with a little trucker hat on and stuff. But, Damien and I, he started like maybe a year before me at the Monster Factory. So we knew each other for a really long time. And then when I was with Ring of Honor, I'd moved back to New Jersey, and I started going around the Monster Factory a lot, and we started hanging out more. And then he kind of, like, we had a talk like, hey, like this could be a real thing if because when you're in wrestling school, if you're not around people that are successful, um, you just don't know that there's like it's actually tangible. Like it is a real job that you can
Mhm.
actually go get. You know what I mean? Especially when you have some of the stuff that Damien has, right? I mean, he's huge, he's tall, he's got that great deep voice. Like there's a lot to him. It's just a matter of taking it a little more seriously, and it's not just about getting in shape, right? Like the biggest thing for him is that he lost all that weight, but it's more just putting your look to your character and just putting it all together, right? We call it the glow up, but like he's really had one. And it's great to see. And like I said, him and I are super close. And I was able to be at WrestleMania, the night he won, he cashed in, and also the same night Cody won. So it was just really special for me to be able to, be there for both. It's like my two best friends in professional wrestling, both being the world champions of another company, but it was really cool to see all that hard work for both of them, to be able to, have that moment and
So
be able to,
the
talk to them about it and stuff like that.
so now we got Full Gear coming up this weekend. I am
Yeah.
fascinated. I am not a TikTok guy. I'm late to getting there, but I have
Me
not
neither.
been
Me neither.
I have not been able to escape the Costco guys and the RIZZLER.
Sure.
Like it is one of those things where this year I have become acquainted with who they are. How did you first
Yeah.
meet this family? AJ, because
Man.
I understand it goes back quite a while.
Yeah. So my first ever independent show outside of the Monster Factory was his last. He was retiring, and he kind of
Wow.
bestowed his babyface run to me as a babyface. And hey, this wrestling company is going to be in good hands because I got at the time Bulldog, Mike Calari, and he's going to be the next guy, and blah, 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 blah. And we just always stayed in touch. And then Sanjay had worked with him on the Indies, and Sanjay brought him up. I said, I have his number. Let's give him a call. We invited him all out. And then I knew, right? I knew this is where the worker in me comes in. I knew as a professional wrestler, you're always a professional wrestler, right? Like, I just got to convince him to get back in the ring. And if I could do it and sell him on the idea, do it in your hometown, in front of your friends, your family, in front of your son, like what a moment it could be. And maybe we do a tag match where I could do some of the heavy lifting. And then, of course, it was like, well, my plan all along was to do one-on-one, right? Because
Yes.
I don't want to share the spotlight, and I don't want him to share the spotlight, and also, would they cheer me? Maybe, but I think it's a lot like stay in the lanes that we're good at, and we're able to make it happen. And like I said, I mean, from the time that we made this agreement, right after All Out to now, they have just blown up like quadruple the amount, right? I mean, like I said, late night with Jimmy Fallon and being able to say just even saying my name on there, I was like, wow, like this is more than we could have ever asked for, you know what I mean? And it was, and then the announcement of the RIZZLER last night,
buddy,
on Dynamite,
that blew up on social media.
Crazy. I mean, it's just, and then we have the weigh-in tomorrow night on Rampage. Like, there's just, part of it was that we didn't want to not advertise. We didn't want to take up a lot of TV time. One, because his fans and following are not our fans, right? So it's like, okay, let's put it on social and kind of see how it does. And also, then there's not a lot of pushback from people in the company, and it is completely different from everything else on the TV show. So it's like, all right, how do we make it work, right? And there's always going to be positives and negatives to everything, but I think we stay in our lane. We try to do it on social, and and make the audience want to put it on TV. I've always been like that, Sean. Like, if I wanted to do an angle, let's do it on Dark. Let's do it on Elevation. Let's build it up to the point where the fans are asking for it on a main show, right? And instead of just sitting back and saying, hey, I don't want to do anything if I'm not on the main show. No, just any opportunity is a great opportunity. So, that's kind of what we did. And, we always had the agreement that this would be on the 0 hour. It would be free for all his fans, so this way they could see it and, just, again, stay in his lane and stuff. So we've been more than happy with what they've been able to bring to the table. He's super professional. I can't wait to embarrass him and show him that, you were okay 20 years ago, but you're definitely not the former God's gift to professional wrestling. But it's gonna be a spectacle nonetheless. And I know he's really helped the ticket sales and and just bringing like I said, the mainstream publicity to it. So it's everything you could possibly ask for. And the fact that he actually was a wrestler before this, I think was a little. It helped. It definitely helped try to get it into the end zone. So we're at the 1 yard line now. That's what I told someone today.
So when I would ask around about this, I was told a number of things. We had even reported as much as what you had told us earlier. Like, there were talent that were saying QT was adamant, don't put it on the show because he understands the political elements of this and how some people could get upset. And then in the last week, AEW is like, we got to put it on Dynamite. Like, it's doing good numbers for us. Like, it put them in a position where they needed to. And I saw, and I was going to ask like how you felt about some of the criticism, because I saw you even quote tweet and you posted, this did 3 million views on social. That goes a long way in promoting a show and just letting people know that Full Gear is happening, whether or not they want to watch these guys on it or not.
Right. And I mean, at the end of the day, like, I don't love every segment on every show that I ever watched, right? But at the end of the day, like, I understand there's a business at hand and there's a reason and a rhyme and reason why people do everything. If they don't understand it, that's okay. They're not, we're not going to sit there and explain the inner workings of the wrestling industry to them. We're putting on a TV show. But at the end of the day too, like, it's easier for me to just circle the number of views, post that instead of trying to explain the entire wrestling industry to some people. And like I said, at the end of the day, is it different than what we normally do? Sure, of course. But, I mean, what AEW was when it first started, it was an alternative that took independent wrestlers, a lot of independent wrestlers that didn't get their chance at the WWE or something, right? To get their opportunity on the big stage. And literally that's what this is. It just is 20 years later, you know what I mean? And it just so happens that he happens to have, an amazing following and a lot of viewers that are willing to click, on everything that he posts. So I thought it was a win-win all around,
Well, until we saw that diss track you dropped, QT.
Almost had 1
What?
million views on TikTok. That's the biggest thing I've ever done in my life. You know,
Oh my God.
yeah. I mean, when we first brought him in, one of Giancarlo, he said, "Hey, you gotta make some kind of parody of this," and I was like, okay, I'm down for whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in tune with the TikTok world and social media like that. Every now and then I'll chime in, but for the most part, I stay to myself.
Oh,
And when he
buddy, I
said that, I
heard
was
he
like,
was real. I heard Giancarlo was real proud of it. I heard he was very
he
proud
loves
of
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is like his baby. And but it did really well, and I thought it was fun. And like I said, for people that are like, this is worse than whatever, blah blah blah. Sure, whatever you want to say, but it got people talking. It definitely got exposure. And at the end of the day, that's literally what this industry is about: is eliciting a reaction from the audience. So if we're doing that, I think we're doing our job. If it translates, we'll see. I'm waiting for the rating to come out for Dynamite today. I'm hoping that AJ and Big Justice popped the number, but who knows? And at the end of the day, too, we get him next to Private Party, who, Mark Quinn and Isaiah. Isaiah walked out the other night and did the Riz face, so it was
Yes.
like, oh, that's perfect. Just put them together. You know what I mean? And you put them with baby faces from the area. It all makes sense. And like I said, if you can't see that, hey, it is what it is. We're not gonna have to beat you over the head with it.
I mean, how did you how did you feel about the reception, the reaction to the diss track? Because I mean, you know what's going to happen. A lot of people are like, "Yeah, this is good." And then a lot of people, completely void of context, will say, "It's killing wrestling. It's the worst thing that ever happened." You
Sure.
know how
Yeah,
people will
yeah, yeah.
react.
And you know what I mean? Of course, and that's okay. Like I said, at the end of the day, for me, I think it shows a different type of me, right? And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I didn't know that guy was actually he could have fun. You know what I mean? Because I always play like a serious role. I try to, I get bumped around and stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I play a role on a show. That's just what I am. I've just always been like that. I've never tried to go into business for myself. It's just like, hey, yeah, I'm just happy to have a job in wrestling, right? And like I don't take it too seriously. I think this is like it should be fun. There's business that has to be done, and we have to be serious about that. And obviously, getting in there and with the trust of your fellow coworkers and stuff. But ideally, like this is at the end of the day a great but ridiculous job.
Yes.
And if you can't go out there and put yourself out there and have fun and just wait till you see the weigh-in. You know what I mean? Like it's ridiculous fun, and that's what it's meant to be. And then there's going to be serious moments on the show. There's going to be fun. There's going to be a whole plethora of stuff, right? So I think that's what that it's the circus. It should be the circus. And anyone that says it shouldn't, like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but you know, luckily
I
I'm part of the inner workings of the show,
I love it.
so we can make other stuff happen. Yeah.
It reminds me of, I mean, for example, and I'm not saying that AJ the Costco Guys is as big as Bad Bunny or anything like that, but the
Sure.
number of
Sure.
wrestling fans that saw him and said, "Who? I
Right.
didn't know who he was, but guess I
Yeah.
googled him and then I realized, oh, he's a big deal to a different
Sure.
audience and that's what you want to do." Like for
Yeah.
all the people and the fables about casual fans, this is quite literally a different audience that you're attempting to bring in that don't usually watch the show.
Yeah. Like, when we were talking about the match, putting it on the 0 hour, and my idea was, well, I don't want to go last, right? I want to go in the middle somewhere
Yeah.
to where we can have people tune in and then also promote the rest of the 0 hour and hopefully put something on right afterwards that's like incredible, like AEW branded, and hopefully get people that are first timers to tune in and say, "Wow, I didn't know there was another wrestling company out there. Like this is incredible. These guys are, the next match. Like these guys are incredible. Like oh man, now I got to buy this pay per view, or I got to tune in Wednesday to Dynamite, or so on and so forth." And at the end of the day, like I said, I think it's a risk, but it's not a huge risk, right? And the reward is well worth it. It's been proven over the years that adding mainstream publicity to your wrestling show can really help out. So, like I said, to us, it was a no-brainer. Getting Tony to sign off on it was, a little hard at first, but he understood. And I think there's trust between him and I where it's like, I'm not going to, go into business for myself and ruin your television show, you know?
He seems very happy about it now. Minutes ago I was on the media call with him
Yeah.
and he was like, "Yeah, they've taught me quite a bit about marketing in the way that they approach things, By the
Sure.
time this airs publicly, they'll have been on Fox Business together to talk
Oh,
about the
wow.
partnership. Like he
Yeah.
told us
Yeah.
that's happening on
Yeah.
shortly before this releases. That's a big deal to appear on that as a
Yeah.
lead in to promote Full Gear.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I said, uh, you know, I think we're very focused on wrestling, and we should be because we're all elite wrestling. But at the end of the day, there is like that, I don't want to say like a cap to how many people want to watch wrestling, but there is at the
Yes.
same time, right? It is what it is, right? So it's like, all right, well, how do we get new viewers? Because once you do watch an AEW show, right? If you go to a live AEW show, you're like, oh my goodness, like I have never seen stuff like this before in my life. But you got to get them in the door first to watch the show. And I don't know how many of our fans are going door to door telling their friends about it and so on and so forth. But I know that AJ, the Costco guy, is literally going on TikTok and telling people, you have to watch this. I'm bringing the boom, QT, all this stuff. And it's like, great. This is the greatest marketing we could possibly ask for, especially to a new audience, instead of just continuously promoting to the same exact audience that we already have. And like I said, it's if something isn't the greatest, of course they're going to tell 100 people. But if it's good, they just expect it to be good because it's all elite wrestling. It's supposed to be good. So they're not really telling anyone about that. So it's like, again, I think that's just the way the world works nowadays. And kind of always like that, in any business. So it's like if we can get the more positive exposure and publicity, like let's do it. And I thought AJ was, one of the best ways to do it, and it's obviously proven itself. So, now they're everywhere. I mean, football players, Tony's Jaguar mascot was doing the boom dance after one of the touchdowns. So it's like something's going on here.
So as we wrap up, you're not the only one in the wrestling music remixing business, buddy. We have a Fightful favorite here that I am going to play for you, and you will rate it a boom or doom. I hope you're ready for this one.
You got it.
Hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
It's all about.
But that's it. That's the whole thing.
Okay. I'm going to give that 5 dooms. Doom.
You're this is why you're going to get power bombed, which, by the way, I thought that was
power boomed.
Power boom. Listen, that was a very savvy thing because he straight up educated the audience. This is the move that's coming on Saturday. Like he let us know. For anybody who did not ever watch a match of his, he let us know his finish.
Yeah, he is like the stereotypical pro wrestler, like when like The Rock did the Saturday Night Live promo, all that stuff. Like it's that's what he's an old school wrestler, and he hits the town, he hits the move, he hits who's in the match. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything more. Like I said, it's exactly what it should be. And again, are there people that are gonna say it's too whatever? Maybe, but look at the Outrunners. They are literally like that is them, and they're hitting that market of it's different. It's different more than anything. And like I said, to me, it's a home run. Whatever you want, whatever sport you want to relate it to, touchdown, home run, a goal. So like I said, we're at the 1 yard line right now, and we just got to run it in at Full Gear. So at the 0 hour.
A reminder, guys, this Saturday, Prudential Center, Full Gear, 0 hour, QT Marshall against AJ. We got the RIZZLER ringing the bell. If QT goes down, oh boy, I can't wait.
Man, they're really stacking the deck against me. They're stacking it up against me. I don't like it, but hey, the more the merrier.
Listen,
like I said, the RIZZLER,
AJ, Adam Cole isn't wrestling this weekend. That's all the boom that people can see. Like, do you think that he? Maybe that was the political game that got played. Maybe AJ's backstage and he's like, "We got to get this Adam Cole off the show."
Yeah. Hey, we'll see. I don't know. Not everything is set for the pay-per-view yet, so we'll see what happens. But I definitely think there has to be some kind of linkage between Big Boom AJ and Adam Cole, and who knows, Boom Boom Cole Cabana. There's a lot of booms in the wrestling world in AEW.
AJ was actually the person who hid the dynamite diamond ring underneath the ring for Takeshita to knock him out. He's like, there's only room for one of us, buddy.
Yeah. Real old school, you can't wear the same stuff as me. You can't say boom, the whole deal,
Oh,
That's
my
great.
gosh. QT Marshall, thank you so much. I appreciate you, as always. Guys, until next time, we're out.
I'm going to do a speed run of why you should get NordVPN.com/Fightful. Listen to all your favorites abroad when you're traveling. You can shield your data from snoops and criminals, especially on that public Wi-Fi, airport, coffee shop, venue, hotel. You can also get the Nord Password Manager in case you're always forgetting your password. It's available on all your devices and operating systems, whether it be TV, phone, laptop, desktop, whatever. You can even put it on your router. They also have the file encryption tool to help protect that. 24/7 tech support, so in case you don't know how to use it, they'll help teach you how to use it. It's the fastest VPN on the planet. You can change your virtual location with just one click. Maybe the game's blacked out, you want to get pay-per-views at other prices. NordVPN.com/Fightful has all of that, and there's always a great deal going on there, but here's the best deal. 30-day money-back guarantee in case you don't like it, but you're gonna. NordVPN.com/Fightful.